Coming up on Time for Hope.
The research goes back and says that the first sexual encounter of our students today happens at 12 years old, which means 50% happens later, but 50% happens earlier. So we've got to start teaching our kids biblical values.
Join Dr. Freda Cruz, licensed professional counselor, and her guests as they provide practical solutions to real-life problems on Time for Hope.
You have just joined Time for Hope, a faith-based mental health program. I'm Dr. Freda Cruz, your host, and today I am being joined for the next 2 weeks and possibly 3 by Andy Braner, author and ordained youth minister and president of Ahava Ministries, a camp ministry that teaches a Christian worldview to teens and college students. According to the Journal of Sexual Medicine, 63% of teenagers are sexually active before they leave high school. 87% are active before they leave for college. Andy has written a very enlightening and informative book titled An Exposé on Teen Sex and Dating, giving directions related to reaching this generation of teens with a biblical answer to dating, sexting, and hooking up. I encourage you to stay with us as Andy and I share our concerns and directions for confronting these critical issues. And Andy, it's great having you on Time for Hope. Thanks for coming all the way from Colorado.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You have done, as I said on the introduction, a tremendous job of getting to the core in a what I would call a practical approach to the problem of teens and sex and hooking up and all of that. I'm going to go ahead and add, there have been some approaches taken that I have not agreed with, and I'm mostly in agreement with your approach because it makes sense. So I want to tell you that up front.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a strange time that we're watching teenagers having to navigate some of the hardest times in dating and sexuality ever.
Ever known.
Ever known.
Ever known.
So this is a good time to come out and start just helping teenagers get to a place where they can date and date healthy.
You know, you keep saying it in your book, and I like it so much, but you know what? They can do it.
They can do it.
They can do it,
Yeah.
and we're here to encourage them, you know, and cheer them on.
Yeah.
Those that are willing, as it were, to take the torch and go with it.
That's right. Yeah. So we found early on, that you know, the biggest influence in a teenager's life today is parents. That's it. Number one issue, right?
Yes.
And if parents aren't teaching kids or encouraging kids, then number 2 is their friends. And so their friends have a large portion to do with what they're dating and how their dating habits turn out. And if their parents aren't teaching them and their friends are teaching, I tell teenagers a lot of times, I'm like, you know, your friends don't know any more than you do. So that's pretty silly. So then the third most influential piece of education in a teenager's life today, the media.
Media, and yes, I think we all, even way back, I can remember when we were afraid this was going to happen with the media. You know, I was rearing my children in the late 60s and 70s, which was a very difficult time, by the way. But the Beatles scared us to death when they came on media, and that's just even, you know, as much as everybody thinks of Elvis, it still scared us as parents of what in the world, you know, where are they going with this, and how is this going to affect our kids? Am I being realistic here?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, I think it all began then, and then it's just been accentuated. You know, it's been exponentially. The media influence and the things that the media are teaching our kids are, we live in an over-sexualized culture. And so our kids are getting bombarded at every turn, whether it's a commercial on TV at a football game, or it's a musician, or it's a movie, or it's TV, or whatever. It's everywhere they turn. So like I said, if parents negate it and friends teach it, or they don't teach it, which is kind of silly, the media are the ones that are leading us out in this teen dating and sexuality conversation, which is kind of scary.
And you know, off camera we talked about it, and both you and I agreed that one of the main problems that our teenagers are facing are their parents.
Absolutely.
Their parents aren't doing much better, as it were, and many of them are posing to be poor role models, and that's coming from the high divorce rate.
Yep.
And then parents either getting married again or living together not married, and the permissiveness of parents today is just really blowing me away.
It's almost like they've said, well, this is what I'm going to do in my life, so how can I judge what my kid is doing? And so they've allowed their kids to come in and just participate in the same lifestyle. And I told a friend of mine the other day, I said, this culture thinks that it's more evil to judge evil than they think it is to do evil. So in other words, there's this high level of not hatred, but there's this discourse happening that if you look at somebody and you say, hey, you're not living in a right way, this isn't the right way to look at it, that's more evil than the person that's actually living in the sin, you know? So of course parents are, you know, they're going back and forth, and we know the divorce rate is what it is, and so kids are going, hey, but my mom's doing this, and mom's going, well, you know, they got a point, you know, I'm not perfect, and so they can just figure it out on their own, and that's just compounding the issue.
And then with our nation in the mess it's in, and then this younger generation going to be part of we're just really in a great need of people facing the truth.
Yep.
Of where we are as a whole. And if you fit as a parent, if you fit as, you know, a politician, if you fit as a grandparent,
Yeah.
you know, wherever you fit, we need truth.
Yeah.
And we need reality, don't we?
That's right.
We don't need this covering everything over and giving it a good face and living differently. And you bring that out in your book, even like how teenagers. And I had noticed that, you know, watching my grandchildren and their friends, how they can compartmentalize their lives.
Right.
But when you think about it, haven't many adults always done that when it came to practicing Christianity and being one thing at the church and another thing in the home or out in society?
They have, and we're inviting this generation to change that. Come to the table and let's talk about those different boxes. I call it different boxes because kids will have a box for parents, and they'll put on a smiley face at home and do whatever mom and dad says just so they don't get in trouble. And then they've got a box for friends, and so there's a whole list of rules in the friend box. Then they've got a dating box and an entertainment box and a media box and all the boxes that you can think of that they're juggling. They're trying to keep everything separate. Now the trick today is those kids, those rules don't have to intersect. There's no comprehension. There's no comprehensive living. And so I interviewed a student once, and I said, he was actually telling me he went to a purity rally, True Love Waits rally, committed to purity at 6 o'clock on Friday night, and then went off and hooked up with his girlfriend at 8 o'clock. And he's like, I didn't think it was wrong. Like those rules didn't have to intersect. And so I was like, don't you see that there needs to be a core behind what you're doing that permeates into everything else that you do? And he goes, man, that'd be really nice. How do I do that? And I went, this is my chance. You know, this is my chance to affect change in this one kid's life. And subsequently, that's turned into thousands of kids' lives who have bought into the idea that comprehensive faith living is the way to go.
You are where it is, and it's a centering. We would refer to that as a centering they need in their lives. And you and I know where that is and what they need. And it needs to be centered in God. That's what ungodliness actually means. Un-God-centered.
Without God. Yep.
Without God.
Yep.
And so godliness then means centered in God. Our God being the center, the focus, the hub of their lives, so to speak.
And that's what this book's all about. This book is about one compartment joining it up to the center, and the center we talk about is in Matthew when Jesus says the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your mind, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So we draw a picture. Our motto is a picture of that at the core. Now, how does that permeate into a dating relationship? How do you love God with all that's inside of you and relate to somebody, a member of the opposite sex? And so as we use that, kids get really excited because they go, I can do this. You know, I can have a core center and allow those things to bleed into everything else.
Because not only does it bleed into sex, it bleeds into what kind of person they are, period, and will be when they get into their careers.
Right.
It's the same as a person working in a bank,
Yeah.
and they're tempted to steal when the scriptures say you shall not steal, and God says you shall not commit adultery. You know, so the reason a person doesn't steal, number one, they know it's wrong, and you say that about young people. They know what's right and wrong, bottom line, don't they?
They do. They know what's right and wrong, and they're waiting for somebody to come and tell them that it's okay to know that something's right and something's wrong. Because they've been so misled into thinking in this world that whatever pleases me at the moment is kind of where I'm going to be. And they're waiting for somebody to stand up and go, no, you know, that feeling that you have inside of you, that conscience that you have inside, that thing that's telling you this is wrong, that's an okay thing to pay attention to. And you need to start listening to that. And so we're helping, we're encouraging kids, and we're cheering them on, like you say, to be godly people.
It's so exciting just to hear about the opportunities you have and where you are. You've talked about the various pressures they're under, and we talked about the media and, of course, pornography. You brought that out so clearly and so plainly how, and you even think of Bundy, the serial killer, and he gave an account to Dr. Dobson at Florida State Prison about how, and I've had others come on the show and say the same thing, that the first time they ever saw it is still indelibly marked on their brain.
Seared
There's something
in their brain.
about it sticks. It sears into their brain. And they're left free to stay in their rooms, turn their TVs on or their computers, and without supervision and accountability. What do you expect?
I tell parents all the time, when you hand your teenager an iPhone, you have just opened up the galaxy of sin. And so I'm helping to coach parents. I'm like, we've got to talk about how are you going to coach your teenager how to use that phone? How are you going to coach your teenager how to use the internet? The internet isn't a bad thing, but it can be used for bad things. And so we've got to help parents help their own teenagers in their own home to live in a successful way on the internet.
I still think as long as they're home, and I like that too, the way you brought it out. As long as you're the parent and you're paying the bills, get what?
Be the parent.
Yeah, that's right. You be the parent and get to call the shots and make the rules, don't you?
Yeah.
So I thought that was very good. And we're going to talk some more about that. They're telling me it's time for a break, and we will be right back.
I learned about parents and connection a long time ago, how parents can really connect with their teens. When I was down in Louisiana one time visiting a pastor friend of mine, and he had all these college students that were coming in and out of his house, and it was weird. I was looking around going, you know, Pastor, why do you have all these kids over? They're doing laundry, and they're getting food out of the fridge, and they're hanging out, and what's the deal? What's going on here? And he looked at me and he goes, Braner, I'm stacking the deck. And I went, what is that? What do you mean I'm stacking the deck? He goes, you ever played poker before? Like, yeah, I've seen it on TV. I'm not very good at it, but yeah, I know how to play cards. And he goes, I'm putting the aces in my kid's relationship life right now, because I know there's going to come a time when I'm not going to be cool and she's going to stop talking to me. So I'm going to bring some people that I know she thinks is cool. I'm going to disciple them so that she can be around them. And when she stops talking to me, I'm going to know who she is talking to, and we can have meetings, you know, we can have conversation about what my kid's going through. So I use that principle as a foundation to tell parents, you got to stack the deck. And ways to stack the deck, having cool people around, sending them to places that you know are good quality people that your kids are going to think is really cool. And then enjoying the time that you get to be with them in their environment. You know, a lot of moms and dads think, we're going to plan this big vacation, we're going to go on this deal, and the kids are in the back seat going, oh, this is going to be awful, right? So what if you took time and said, well, you know, Sally likes to
she likes to play basketball. So we're going to go watch some basketball. We're going to take her to a professional basketball game and spend some time in her arena. Or she likes to go play soccer, or she likes to do music, or she likes to do art. And so the thing that I might not like doing, I want to give that over to my kid and spend time with them so that they can begin to see how much that I love them and they can trust me. And then when the dating conversation comes up, it's not so weird. It's just a part of relationship. It's a part of what we're doing. I think the failure parents have is when they swoop in and they're like, you ought to do this. Kids are like, I'm out of here. So I think connecting with your kids and stacking the deck's an important thing.
Experts on the subject maintain that the parent's role in helping a child make sense of sex has never been more important, and controversy abounds related to parents being the sexual educators of their children versus sex education in school. One expert, Dr. Mary S. Cauldron, sees the school as being able to give out information related to sex, but says that information is not enough. Instead, she and other family life specialists say that sex education is not so much giving facts as giving values and getting a clear discussion going and making views known in a supportive rather than confrontational way. This requires parent-child communication within a relationship of trust and respect. Admittedly, it can be difficult for both parents and children to talk about sex, but nevertheless, it is necessary for promotion of both emotional and physical health. Parents have the responsibility of creating an atmosphere within the home that provides young children and adolescents with opportunities to learn appropriate and acceptable sexual behavior. Instead of fearing their children's sexuality or creating the impression that all sex is wrong, parents must teach their children boundaries and how to bridle sexual urges, just as they teach impulse control in other areas. Alert parents can take advantage of teaching moments when sexual situations arise, even with young children, and treat such situations as normal and natural to the child's development, rather than react with panic or shame. When a child is discovered participating in some overt sexual activity, we must be careful to respond in a nurturing and loving way instead of exerting excessive punishment. Yet, parents cannot allow unbridled sexual curiosity and desires to go unnoticed or fail to administer appropriate discipline when a child continues a specific sexual activity after he or she has been properly instructed regarding such behavior. Prayer and time with your children, explaining to them that the Creator God created all of us with sexual desires to eventually be met and satisfied within the marital union, will help you guide them through the turbulent waters of discovering, respecting, and controlling their sexual urges. And parents, take hope. For the Creator God who made your teens sexual beings will understand when you ask for wisdom and guidance. We appreciate you joining us on Time for Hope. My guest for today is Andy Braner, and we're talking about his book, An Exposé on Teen Sex and Dating. And Andy, I finally got it out, right? And there's more here, secrets, lies, and hooking up. I have to talk about the hooking up. Isn't it interesting how, especially our young people and teens and so forth, take things that at one time were innocuous, that we used every day, and making something out of them now. Remember when we used to say if we were going to meet you later or something, we'll hook up later?
Yeah, don't say that today.
We can't say that today, can we? We can't tell anybody today, we'll hook up later. I don't like them taking those kinds of things, but anyway, that's what it's about. hooking up most of the time, isn't it?
Yeah,
but it means different than just meeting you down for lunch or something.
It's far from that, right? So I started the research on the book by asking some students at high schools across the country. I said, what's dating like today? Because I didn't really mean to ever write the book. I was just asking the question, like, what's going on in the high school today? And they were telling me that dating was the hardest thing because they didn't know how to do it. They didn't know what they were doing. And I said, well, what's dating like? What do you guys do? And one of the guys said, well, before a school function comes up, he texts a girl in the class, hey, why don't we hook up at such and such a place at such and such a time? And so they'll go and they have this one-time physical relationship, and if it goes well, the boy will ask the girl to the function. If it doesn't go well, he asks her early enough so that he could ask another girl to hook up to make sure that he gets to the right one before the function happens. That's real hooking up.
And I think I can gather from your book that they're not always aware of the STD problem or what the consequences of hooking up one time after another.
You know, the CDC reports last year that there were like 400,000 cases of gonorrhea last year. And so I tell students every time, I'm like, how many of them do you think went to bed with each other that night and said, I can't wait to get a disease? None of them. But that still tells us that we've got a problem. We've got to start thinking about the future. We can't just think in the moment about our dating life and our sexuality. We've got to think about how are we setting up for success going forward in the future.
And then I've learned through the years, even with older people or parents and adults, especially that have marital problems and especially where there are affairs within a marriage, that very, very often it's the result of having had multiple sex partners before marriage. How do you settle down to one person after you've, as we used to refer to it, after you've slept around with, you know, a lot of other people?
Again, the research goes back and says that the first sexual encounter of our students today happens at 12 years old, which means 50% happens later, but 50% happens earlier. So we've got to start teaching our kids biblical values where God set this whole arrangement up for one man and one woman to project into the future so that they can walk a successful dating track. If they don't know, or they haven't been taught, or they're not held to a certain standard, then all of a sudden you get to a place where you're talking about, where you just have multiple sexual partners by the time they graduate high school or by the time they graduate college, and then you're in trouble.
But again, what I like about your book is that you do allow for dating, and it can be done without hooking up.
That's it.
It's not synonymous. In other words, just because you do one, you don't have to do the other. And so as we make our way through our discussion, I want to get that out, that you are, and you say it over and over, I'm for dating.
I'm a pro-dating guy.
You're a pro-dating guy. And to me, that's where you have the multiple partners, as it were, in your life. And going, actually, I encourage my grandsons, you know, don't settle down to one girl. You're too young to settle down to one girl yet. Move from one to another, but not like one time, like you're talking about in anything happening. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. But my dad had a way of saying it, like if we were going with someone and broke up, and you talk about that in your book, and he would see that we were sad or something, he'd say, there's always more fish in the sea. And that kind of stuck with me, you know. For the time being, when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, that's not bad news.
That's not bad
you know
news.
why? Because I've had young people commit suicide over a breakup, thinking, because teens, in a way, have a way of seeing that what's happening now is the way it's always going to be. Did you know that about teens, right? And so sometimes, when a serious relationship, if they've gotten too serious, too fast, too involved, and it goes wrong, I've had teens take their lives over it, and it's just That's sad, isn't it?
We've got to teach kids that it doesn't have to be don't date, and it doesn't have to be 3 sheets to the wind, do everything. There's got to be a middle ground, a pendulum swing to redefine what dating is, free from sexual immorality, as Paul talks about in Ephesians, and so that we can help kids relate to the opposite sex and have a good time.
You have such a good way, such a clear-cut way with a few words of saying. and since this is the end of our first show on this, I'm glad you came up with that, because that's where we're going to be heading again next week.
Wonderful.
And so you just sit tight, and I have some words to share with our audience at this time. In fact, I have something to read to you that came in regarding a teen. Dear Dr. Freda, please pray for my 16-year-old daughter to be delivered from her desire to be a lesbian. She was exposed to some things at a young age, and we did not know about it. And actually, Andy takes that very thing up in his book in a loving, compassionate way, because next week we'll be touching on that. So I want you to know we're not setting out to condemn this 16-year-old. We're here to help and give hope and guide. And Andy has a great way of doing that in his book, and I'm going to have him talk about that next week. If you haven't shared your prayer request with us, of course, we always encourage you to do that, and we're going to be praying for this 16-year-old with her struggle that she is struggling with. And we do that with each and every prayer request that comes in. And of course, we're praying for parents and grandparents that we're talking about that are facing these problems with these teens. And then if you haven't asked God what He would have you do about joining us as a team member with this ministry, giving out this kind of information, confronting the issues of the day. Actually, that's our mission, that's our calling, and then giving hope, presenting the problem, giving hope, and directions, and especially always pointing to the hope being found in a relationship with Jesus Christ. If you haven't taken that up with the Lord, how you can help us financially, I would encourage you to do that, and then join us again next week as Andy and I pick up just where we left off.
We hope that today's Time for Hope program has been helpful and inspirational to you and your family. As a token of our appreciation for joining us, we would like to offer you a one-page fact sheet which contains additional information on today's topic. Log on to our website at timeforhope.org to view and print our fact sheet. Or you can call us at 1-800-669-9133 and we will send it to you free of charge. To get a copy of today's book for a suggested donation of $13 US or more, which includes shipping and handling, log on to our website at timeforhope.org. You may also call us at 1-800-669-9133, or you can write us at P.O. Box 2169, Spartanburg, South Carolina, 29304. Until next time, have a great week, and remember, it is time for hope.